Here is a very condensed summary of this Wednesday's episode of AEW Dynamite. So, in the opening contest, Will Ospreay defeated Brody King to move to 9 points in a 3-2 record. He kicked out of a Gonzo bomb, and King kicked out of a hidden blade, but Ospreay pinned him after a Stormbreaker. Ricochet and Darby Allin went to a time limit draw, which was all Ricochet needed to clinch his spot in the semifinals with 10 points, and the draw also eliminated Darby. Ricochet is a great bad guy. Fans chanted at him for being bald, chanted for Samantha Irvin, just awesome stuff. The story of the match was that Darby's ribs and lower back are injured, and Ricochet focused on them much of the match. Then, as the time was winding down, Darby was too beat up to capitalize after giving Ricochet a Scorpion Death Drop. He hit his coffin drop, but the time ran out before he could get the pin. So that means Darby is eliminated. So then, as Darby was leaving the ring area, Komander made his ring entrance for his match against Claudio Castagnoli. Darby whispered something in Komander's ear before the match. Now, heading into Claudio versus Komander, Claudio needed just 1 point to advance. If, however, Komander was to pull off the huge upset, then Will Ospreay would advance as a result of Ospreay beating Claudio in their round-robin match. However, in the closing moments of Komander versus Castagnoli, we found out what Darby whispered to Komander because Komander went to the outside of the ring and pulls out Darby's pink jacket from underneath the ring and grabs a pair of brass knuckles that was in the pocket of the jacket, the same brass knuckles that Claudio had used on Darby in their match. So Komander then hits Claudio with the brass knucks, gives him his top rope walking moonsault, and picks up the huge upset win, eliminating Claudio from the tournament, and Will Ospreay will move on to World's End as a result. So after the match, the Death Riders attacked Komander until Jay White and Orange Cassidy came out to make the save. Then Moxley took out both Orange and White until Hangman Page finally strolled out to make the save. The three challengers then gave their finishers to Moxley. Moxley leaves the ring but leaves the briefcase, which we assume has the AEW World Title belt in it. And then the three challengers sort of all kind of grab at the briefcase, and we get a moment between the three of them. So Okada then defeated Shelton Benjamin with a Rainmaker in the next match, so he finishes with 10 points and he clinches his spot in the semifinals as well. After the match, Benjamin and Okada showed some good sportsmanship between the two of them. They shook hands, although Okada kind of snuck in some sneaky middle fingers to Benjamin as well. But still, some sportsmanship showed between the two of them afterwards. So this means that the last match in the Blue League between Daniel Garcia and Kyle Fletcher would determine who else from the Blue League advances to World's End. We had a match between Toni Storm and Taya Valkyrie. Toni Storm continued to have no memory of her AEW career thus far during the match. She pinned Taya Valkyrie with an inside cradle. Then we head into the main event, the final Blue League match. Kyle Fletcher only needed a draw to win the group. Daniel Garcia needed a win to move on. So I thought this was cool. You're down to two of your top upcoming stars. Who are you going to have advance, Daniel Garcia and Kyle Fletcher? It would be Kyle Fletcher that would advance. He picked up the win with a brainbuster onto the turnbuckle, though it was a sort of didn't quite get all of it type of a scenario. It wasn't a completely clean victory, though, as a few moves earlier, Fletcher had hit a low blow before hitting a brainbuster that Garcia had kicked out of. But with the win, this means that now at World's End, the two semifinal matches will be Kyle Fletcher versus Will Ospreay. So that's the former United Empire / Don Callis family members, good friends, now turned opponents at World's End. And we also have Ricochet versus Okada in the other semifinal match at World's End. Those sound like two great matches, and then the winners will meet in the final. My overall review of this December 25th edition of Dynamite was that it was awesome. I loved all of these shows from the Hammerstein. The vibe there, of course, reminds me of ECW. The crowd reminded me of ECW, and the actual matches were amazing. This was an awesome show, and I hope AEW goes back to Hammerstein like multiple times a year.